Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 87 of the Seezus Show. It's your boy, Seezus. I got my co-host right here, Trade Day XXIV. I'm happy you guys are tuning in for another fun-filled episode. It's been a lot of things going on, so we kind of want to get straight to it. But before we get into today's hottest topics, I always like to rehash on last episode. So on episode 86, it was me and your boy Trade Day XXIV, and we talked about a couple of different topics that were going on. So Ben Simmons moving to the power forward, Oladipo potentially returning, Rondo's injury, players snitching in the bubble, players not choosing to wear social justice labels on the back of their jerseys, Russ and Harden testing positive for COVID, and much, much, much more. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and today is going to be another fun-filled episode. Like I said, make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at TheSeezusShow, at Seezus, at TradeXXIV. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for my boy, for my co-host, for that right here, Trade Day XXIV.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 87 of the Seezus Show. I'm going to slow it down a little bit today, you know what I'm saying, talk to y'all real nicely, you know what I'm saying. But, yo, thank you for tuning in, man, and I'm ready to get to these topics. What's good with you?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
cool.
sir.
So there's been a lot of things going on in the NBA, and before we get into the scrimmages that have been bringing nothing but joy to myself, and I know a lot of people as well, too, what I want to talk about is six man, one of the best players off the bench, in my opinion, Lou Williams. So Lou Williams is going to be serving a 10-day quarantine and is going to be suspended for, I believe, 2 games. So I think it happened after we released episode 86. So basically, Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell was first, then it was Patrick Beverley, then Lou Williams. All these guys had to leave the bubble. Other people who left the bubble too was Zion Williamson. We already heard about that. He came back. He's quarantined for a couple of days. Should be available this upcoming Tuesday as well too. Austin Rivers left as well too, only about 20 minutes away from the Orlando bubble as well. But a lot of players left for disclosed reasons. So, Lou Williams left. No one really knew what he was doing. And the rapper, the sensation Jack Harlow, apparently he got caught with him at, where was he at?
He was at the strip club.
They were at a strip club, and I think Atlanta. So it was crazy because
how far is that? Like 4 hours? That's a time. That's a while.
That's a while. So basically, he was in a photograph with Jack Harlow wearing an NBA mask and had a drink in his hand. And obviously with social media, it went crazy. Jack Harlow was the one that posted it, so shame on him. Knowing with everything going on, you're not supposed to do that as well too. Jack Harlow essentially was like, "Yo, this was a picture from a long time ago," but then everybody was like, "Hold the up real quick." When you guys got into the bubble, they gave you guys those NBA masks, so that shit was recent. That shit was obviously after the bubble as well too. So it was crazy because with everything going on. We did know for a fact that someone did pass away, so it seems to me he did attend a funeral. But what comes with that is, him having to go to the strip club and whatnot, which,
That's a 6-hour trek.
You can't blame the guy because at the end of the day, y'all in the bubble, all dudes. So I guess he had to, go off and see some women or something like that as well too. But my whole thing is like, for one hand, I'm going to be a bit biased just because I've been, following the Clippers a lot this year. So I'm like, a lot of people basically, coming at me saying, yo, he should essentially be suspended for the entirety of the season, not even playing the postseason. He's putting other people at risk as well, too. But my whole thing is like, if you're going to go get tested, you're going to have to quarantine regardless. So it's not like he really broke anything. But at the same time, you're supposed to be a good example. Especially when everyone else is abiding by the rules as well, too. So I can kind of see the clash of where everything went. So I think, that's a good punishment enough, the 10 days being isolated, which just sucks because it feels like I don't know if that's going to take away from him getting his legs back, the chemistry with the Clippers, them still trying to, battle for that 2 seed with the Denver Nuggets, who are only 2 games behind them right now. And like I said, those 2 extra games as well too. But what are your thoughts on him being the poster child of taking the fall and basically suffering consequences.
Well, Lou, show me your titties, Williams.
Two girlfriends.
It's like it's two, like I'm Lou. But I just think that yes, the rules are going to be broken. Of course, it's just very interesting that he was caught in Atlanta at the strip club. Of all the things, you know what I'm saying? Like, get an Airbnb, bro. Get a hotel.
Had an all mask. He wore the NBA mask.
Yeah.
And part of that is just like
That wasn't discreet.
clout. That was clout. It's like, yo, I'm here. What's up, shorties? Like, I'm in the NBA.
You were Jack Harlow, who is
Very
probably
poppin'.
the most recognizable white dude.
And he's a white
currently,
rapper, which white people love.
Currently, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, bro, if you're gonna be bad, be good at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all it is. I mean, I'm not knocking Lou for pulling up at the strip club because honestly, I'd probably pull up at the strip club too. But you got to take into consideration the safety of everybody. I know it's probably way out there crazier rule breaking going on. Pretty sure they're probably sneaking people in and stuff like that. But it's like, bro, if you're gonna do it, man, just be discreet about it. And he might have thought that, hey, I can do this. I'm on my I'm going here for this. Wherever he was going, like you said, somebody might have passed away or per se, and said, hey, I can go out and do this. I've already been around people. I got to go back and get tested anyway. It's probably how he was feeling. Yeah. So for the sake of the NBA, he should be suspended for the rest of the NBA because the Lakers should win the title. No, but
oh no, you're serious.
But nah,
keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So he really, really, really should, have his 14-day, 10-day quarantine, be good with the league, and hopefully, they slap him on the wrist and keep it going because he's good for the league, and I don't want to see him sitting out, and they should just tell him don't do it again. And if you're going to get strippers, NBA players, please make sure you do it discreetly. That's all.
Yeah, and which makes me think, last episode we were talking about players snitching in the bubble. A lot of people were saying, yo, it was actually Bron who definitely snitched, who definitely said, yo, this is what should happen right now. Yeah. But it just makes me think, it's just crazy. And it also makes me think, what personal reasons was Zion going for? What was Montrezl Harrell going for?
All strippers. All strippers.
All strippers?
All strippers.
Big booty.
Lou, show me the titties Williams. Come on,
yeah, Lou, show me the titties Williams, man. But yeah, like you said too, it wasn't. Obviously, you're supposed to set a good example as well too. So I think the punishment that he's facing is justified. So hopefully, moving forward, no one leaves the bubble and gets caught up. And like you said, if you're gonna do something bad, be good at it.
Be good at it, please.
So I agree with you. So moving on from that. Pacers Sabonis left the NBA bubble because he has to treat a foot injury. So, according to ESPN, aka from Hood Woj, Indiana Pacers All-Star forward Domantas Sabonis is leaving the NBA bubble in Orlando, Florida, to receive medical treatment for plantar fasciitis in his left foot. The team announced Friday. Sabonis, who has been attempting to play through the injury, I didn't even know that, hopes to eventually rejoin the team in Orlando, but he could miss the rest of the season, sources told ESPN. And it says here, Sabonis, 24, was chosen for his NBA All-Star game this season, his first NBA All-Star game this season. He signed a 4-year, $75 million contract extension that will begin at the start of the next season. And this year, he's been pretty damn good. 18.5 points, 12.4 rebounds, and 5 assists for the season with Indiana as well, too. So major blow to the Pacers as well, too. And it sucks because, like I said, the East is wide open. So literally any team, could potentially battle for the throne. Obviously, most people in their eyes, if you look at the stats, if you look at the superstar, you would think it's the Bucks, but a lot of teams, can shock everyone, especially when it's at a neutral site as well too. So that's a blow. I personally think he shouldn't come back, but if he can't come back and he wants to do it personally, go ahead and do it. Everyone has their own choices they got to make as well too. But at the same time, you got to look out for your future. Obviously, you got that contract, but after those 4 years, you want to re-up again. The salary cap going to keep jumping, so be aware of that as well too. But we get it. You know what I'm saying? It's your passion, so do what you love as well too. But my question for you is, obviously you already know this is going to be a blow, but with how basically the past couple of weeks we've had the back and forth with Victor Oladipo, with him, first being a little worried about everything. Obviously, he played in that preseason opener as well too. Do you think that he, knowing that obviously Victor Oladipo is an all-star caliber player, do you think that Oladipo should consider sitting out as well too, and actually not coming back?
Yeah, I think if you like a lower power, and I mean it would be. I mean they're in playoff contention, so he would at least get one series in. But no, I think you protect your assets, man. Your assets for an NBA player being you currently. Yeah, for Victor Oladipo, come back when there's a little bit more structure to everything, and it's really game time for real because we kind of see like a player like, I mean, kind of similar injuries, and there were legs, but Andre Robinson with the OKC, him coming back and performing pretty well. Hit some threes. He's a defensive player and stuff like that. But it's a testament to taking your time coming back, and I think Victor Oladipo has served his time in a way. But right now, is there any real reason to go out and test it? Your team's kind of lagging with some of your with Sabonis going down. You're not full strength. I think you can get out there, maybe play in some scrimmage games if you want to, but at the same time, I don't think there's a need for him to play right now. It's a long-term thing.
And it's like if you lose, you already lost a bonus. If God forbid, knock on wood, if
I think management should sit him down.
Yeah, you're right. And if Victor Oladipo go down as well too, gets injured, that's your franchise right there.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got Malcolm Brogdon and Evan Turner and I forgot homie's name who got a beef with Jimmy Butler, T.J. Warren.
Yeah, is he a free agent coming up soon?
Who?
Oladipo.
I think he has one more year left on his contract.
Well, even if he's not, like, and if you kind of have an understanding where he his head at for re-signing or maybe going somewhere else, you still have to protect that asset as an organization. And then Oladipo, you have to protect yourself because that's your money. You know what I'm saying? So I think for both sides, it would be good for them to sit, relax. We know what kind of player Oladipo is when he's extremely healthy, and in a year or so, either gonna be big money for the Pacers, or you're gonna be an asset for another team in a trade bait. So I think for both parties, it's good if he just sits out and doesn't hurt himself any further. Not saying that he will, but be safe, play it safe.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that a lot of players, when they got in the bubble, they had a quarantine for like 48 hours, and they were just getting these skimp-ass, meals and whatnot. And a lot of people, made jokes of what they were eating. And my whole thing was like, bruh, y'all ain't always have this shit. You know what I'm saying? So there's multiple people in the United States and third world countries who are literally starving. So just be grateful for what you have. So that's where I was coming from as well, too. But I really haven't heard any complaints like that. It seems to me like life in the bubble is pretty damn good. I guess now that they can obviously play basketball as well too. The season coming up, things will make it better. But I've seen so many videos of players fishing, players going through water slides, players golfing, players playing volleyball. They even built a barbershop within less than 24 hours as well too, which is dope as well too. So it seems to me life in the bubble is going pretty good. Would you agree?
Yeah, bro. I think it's one of those things where it's like first world problems in a way, And granted, they are away from their families, and I think Adam Silver being a very progressive and understanding, and just because of where we are in a time, place, period, and culture, he has to listen to the players and have a clear form of communication because their players do have more powers now. So it's like I don't think Adam Silver in his right mind would have set up this kind of thing and not had the amenities and the different activities and stuff for them to be comfortable and understand how NBA players would live and maybe want to live for a 3-month period.
Yeah.
And again, you're asking people to come away from their families and do such.
Yeah.
And it's dope. And I think I heard a story where like Kemba Walker was talking about, we were just walking down, we seen LeBron. It's like, you don't really think about that kind of stuff. It's like, because, these are LeBron is Kimba's OG, but you don't think about, other than playing them, how much they get to see and interact with, these maybe larger in life figures, these other superstars on the team. I mean, maybe your boys would, but how much of a communal thing it is when you're, Kimba's around LeBron or, players that you look up to get to see the other players you look up to, and you're all in the same space when you're not playing and you're not practicing. So I think, from what I've heard about, life in the bubble thus far, it hasn't been anything crazy or detrimental. It's been, fun. The NBA, kudos to them for setting up the right way and, keeping in a way, their employees and their biggest asset, their strongest asset, which is the players happy, safe, and, engaged.
Yeah, another thing that, Kemba Walker was talking about as well, too, and it kind of brings me back to the Last Dance with Michael Jordan. Like, a lot of these players, once they leave the facility or their homes or whatever, they're under such a, big microscope, you can't really, afford to fuck up essentially as well too. A lot of people are always you're basically a public figure now, so you can't really escape the mask. So it's pretty cool now that only essential personnel is there, so they can walk freely and just feel at ease for a little bit as well too. So that's pretty dope. Kind of taking a step backward, but gonna go forward as well too. Just got brought to my attention that the New York Knicks and Tom Thibodeau have finalized a 5-year deal to make him the franchise next head coach as well too. I think it's a pretty solid pickup. Not the best, not the worst. Solid pickup. So Thibodeau is 11th career in winning percentages for coaches with 500 or more games. He has a 352 and 246, so 59% record in 8 seasons with Chicago and Minnesota as well too. We know with Thibodeau, you're going to get someone that pushes you, someone who's going to harp on you, someone who's going to, essentially put you in places to be successful as well too. So I like the hiring of it. Yep. But just because that's a good hiring doesn't mean it's going to work out.
Of course,
now, if we look at the past for the New York Knicks, they're known to sign these massive deals for coaches and basically still have them on payroll and fire them. Mm-hmm. So David Fizdale, literally, I don't know why they fired him.
Getting paid.
4-year contract, only served 2 years, getting paid. Jeff Hornacek, 3-year contract, only lasted 2 seasons. Derek Fisher, 5-year contract, only lasted 2 seasons. Mike Woodson, back mellow days, 3-year contract, only lasted 2 seasons. It's kind of funny that Mike D'Antoni was the only person who actually lasted as long as the contract was 4 years, right? Yeah. It's kind of sicko as well, too. But, I think my biggest thing with this whole thing is it really comes down from it's a top-down type of situation where, all right, James Dolan, we know your track record with everything. Are you going to put Thibodeau in a good position? Are you going to work with your GM to actually scout and do everything possible to put the right pieces around Tom Thibodeau to be successful? Because if you don't have those moving pieces, then what is he at? What is he there for? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts on Thibodeau being the coach? Do you think he's going to defy the odds and actually, be there for 5 years? Or you think it's going to be a little test trial, and if things don't work out in 1 or 2 years, the owner's going to be a little bit impulsive and just say you're fired on some Vince McMahon shit?
I think with this, and it's anything when I see come to the Knicks, and you hear rumors like, hey, it will be great for the league if the Knicks were a good team again and this and there. I think Thibodeau has the grit and the grind to make it happen. He's one of those coaches you bring in to help change a culture, change a franchise. He looks like he'll lay the groundwork for it at least. But the biggest problem, similar to my argument when I say with the Wizards, which it does seem like the Wizards might be taking a turn for the better with some of their pickups and stuff like that, but it's still in the foundation of it. And when I say the foundation, it's New York Knicks management, staff in general. The management, maybe who's calling the big shots and stuff. It seems like they're disconnected. it still brings me back to the situation with Spike Lee, who is a diehard fan of yours through good and bad, who was there every time you guys had the nerve to throw him out. It seems like they're disconnected from that standpoint. So it's like there might be a lot of dominoes that have to fall before you even get to being good on the basketball court again. You have to accommodate this, you have to restructure this, and I think whoever's up top calling the shots should take a step back, get somebody that actually maybe understands the scape of the league and is current and up to date and has been good. If I was them, I would throw the dude from Toronto a bag. But did he sign again with them? Yuri?
Besides Yuri?
Yeah.
He's locked into Toronto, bro.
He's locked into Toronto.
Hella progressive.
Well, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, somebody like him.
I think they try to get him. Yeah. Them and the Wizards are actually trying to get Masai Ujiri.
Yeah, somebody like him, you have to track his phone, figure out, you have any friends, so you talking to a girl, saying she's taking you got a fine sister, what's up? So you have to find somebody esque of him, but because whatever you're doing for these last decade or so, it hasn't been pretty, and again, it's from the foundation up. So I think them getting Thibodeau is cool, but if there's no base for him to stand on, will it work out? Only time will tell. And if we look at history, it's not in his favor. Yeah. Other than him getting paid for years, other than when he's not coaching them.
Yeah. I mean, either way, he's like, this is a win-win for me.
Yeah.
For sure. So hopefully things pan out, and it's looking like to me, the Knicks are probably going to get, what's his name? LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
So Tibbs, you've seen the track record with D Rose when you have a franchise point guard.
Yeah.
Take care of that young boy's body because he should be playing for at least 15 years in the league. Moving on from that, scrimmages started, and the NBA courts, man, they're pretty interesting to say the least as well. So it seems to me, I don't really know yet. I remember they had talks of having so if it's a home game, they would essentially change the courts a little bit, but I feel like it's going to stay like this for a while.
I really like it.
I like it. I got a big ass Black Lives Matter sign right there, and I like how players are spaced out because normally on the bench everyone's bunched up, so they're trying to practice social distancing as well too. Set a good example. You got some new camera angles there as well too. And it's pretty cool. So where they keep scores, where the refs go to communicate with replays on checking on plays and whatnot, they got a whole little glass there as well too to protect everyone. But how you feel? Oh, and then another thing as well too is we talked about this actually months ago. If there's no fans there, are they gonna have a simulated crowd noise and whatnot? Mm-hmm. So they kind of have teams chants, and then they have a little fake crowd noise, and then I think they actually put microphones underneath the court, so you can hear the squeaking of the shoes and players moving around and whatnot as well too. But how do you feel about everything with what they've done with the court and whatnot?
I think for them kind of salvaging the season and everything like that. I think we talked about. I think I brought this up a while back too. It's you can be creative. This is your canvas to be creative. Nothing's in a way set in stone, so you can move pieces around as you will within the structure of basketball and the platform that you have. And I think they're doing very well. A multi-million dollar industry from day in and day out. You have to appeal to fans. You have to keep people engaged when people are consuming this from home. And I think right now we're definitely riding the basketball's back wave. We're just excited about that. But just to watch it, just to see how it is, the depth, the camera angles, the presentation, that's all been very up to par, if not above it. The games that I have caught, in real time, have been all right, this is nice. It's all right. And they're scrimmages, so, it's not full on super intense, but just what I'm watching, I think they're going in a great direction. You see on the side, you see people. It's not the fans anymore, but even consuming the NBA from your house anyway. You're not going to see all the fans all the time. You will maybe go back and watch it and see everybody erupt, or you see the players talking to fans and talking with fans and stuff like that. But the main angle is on the court, and they're doing well with this. So even in the future, it's something you can look back at and say, all right, we can package this like this. It's all content. It's all marketing. It's all progressing your league through difficult times, and I think they're doing pretty well with it. So shout out to the commissioner, shout out to everybody that's involved in making this thing work. Again, my thing is as long as people are safe and healthy, let it roll. So this is dope.
For sure. So, like we said with the scrimmages, it's been pretty fun to watch, to be honest. I mean, you can tell players are knocking off their rust. I mean, it's been over 3 months as well too, and they're trying to mix and match lineups to see what's going to be sufficient enough to finish these last 8 regular season games and get ready for the playoffs as well too. But I've been enjoying every bit of it.
Thanks.
Like I said last week, we talked about Brett Brown moving Ben Simmons to the power forward position, so we got to see the 76ers new look position where they had Shake Milton at point, Josh Richardson at the 2. Then you also had Tobias at the 3, Ben Simmons at the 4, and Embiid at the 5 as well too. So it seems like what we talked about and what Brett Brown addressed was pretty spot on as well too. And like we said, we saw the video of Ben Simmons taking those shots. We're saying, yo, you're like the boy who cried wolf. You're gonna have to show me as opposed to just talking. So he actually attempted 2 threes, 2 corner threes, and first one he looked a little hesitant. But once he got to the second one, he hit a corner 3. So it seems like, being in a bubble, having his time off, not fans not being there, he actually gets to come into his own as well too. And
Express yourself.
And I like the starting lineup, man. Defensively, they look very versatile. And with Ben Simmons at the point guard now, the fast break, the pick and rolls are more deadly. He's still doing everything he's been doing, but
Yeah.
I like Philly so far. I like him a lot so far. What are your thoughts on Ben Simmons and the new look starting 5 line? I know it's a small sample size, but what are your thoughts on everything?
Remember my dark horse a few weeks ago? I said Sixers.
Yeah.
I said Sixers.
That bread from you.
Yeah, bro. What? I said Sixers. So we'll see if that ages well. That's all I got to say, honestly. I think Ben Simmons shooting is good for literally the game of basketball because it makes Philly much more of a contender, bro. This is exciting. Like that lob to Tobias Harris, it makes him the complete franchise prolific player that he should be.
Hot 3 cash.
You're left-handed, bro. Bro, being left-handed, I can tell you that even shots that look disgustingly ugly, shit's gonna fall. That's just the luck of the lefty. It happens, bro. And then when you do start doing it consistently and with some confidence, it's gonna work out, bro. And it just expands the floor. It widens the floor for a team that has a Joel Embiid, that has a Tobias Harris, Swiss Army knife, and all of his other assets. So, bro, I'm excited for him to be shooting. I think it's great. I think it'll lead to better, tougher matchups, and maybe even coming down if and when they do get to the finals, a stronger showing from the East.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, staying on the Philly topic as well too. Apparently, Joel Embiid has a calf. Excuse me. Has a calf issue right now. So I think he should be good to go for the season resume, or whatever you want to call it. But Joel Embiid does have a track record of, being injured as well too. Do you think this is going to be a concern moving forward?
Let's see. Joel Embiid injury going forward. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it would be the Knicks and Nags of the games, but I don't think it's going to keep him out for a very long time. That's just my take on it.
Yeah. Well, I hope so, man, because they're only. I mean, what seed are they at right now? They're the 6th seed right now. Mm-hmm. So if Philly has to play against the Boston Celtics without an Embiid, they're getting knocked out the first round.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because that's the Achilles heel for Boston is their size. So if he can't play, I mean, Al Horford, if anyone is going to play well against the Celtics, it's going to be Al Horford. That's his old team. But if he's not healthy, then it's going to be a wrap as well too. Some more things that I was impressed about as well too. With the
what's going on with Scottie Pippen's hair?
I don't know,
I'm sorry. That's right.
He just going through it right now. But who I was impressed with was Denver. First and foremost, Denver Nuggets. The past two scrimmages, they've ran a very, very big lineup. They had Jokic at the point, and then they had Jeremy Grant, Plumlee, Millsap, and Boy. I hope I'm pronouncing it. Boy. As their starting five, which is crazy. But what impressed me the most was is seeing Jokic slim down as well too. I want to see how that's gonna be in the last 8 seasons. I mean, last 8 games, and then in the postseason as well too. How he's gonna match up with other bigs, but he's so versatile, so I don't think it should be a problem at all.
This is dope,
seems
bro.
like he put on muscle, but. What I'm more impressed about is Bobo, son. First and foremost, he should not even have been a late second-round pick. So a diamond in the rough that they found again. First was Michael Porter, now it's him as well too. And first game against the Wizards, he had 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks. And then last night against the Pelicans, he had 15 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, and I think 1 steal as well too. And it's crazy. I don't really think he played, not to my knowledge. If he did play, it must have been like garbage minutes. But I don't recall him playing like that, before the season got shut down as well, too. But he got raw talent, man. He can basically do everything as well, too.
Would you even say this is like raw talent? This is something we haven't really seen in a while from – he plays like a 3. Like a full on 3, I don't see him making any crazy in half court assist and playmaking moves and stuff like that. But from the break, he's definitely a threat to distribute the ball and just to take the ball all the way down or to shoot a long range 3, which is ridiculous. This dude is. He's something different, bro. He jumps a little bit and he's at the rim. If he's jumping at all, he puts his arms up and he's at the rim. It's something you're really gonna have to take into account for. I think it's a big it's a flex of weaponry in a way. Looking at the Lakers, saying, "Oh, you guys got a big lineup with the best player that's played the game," and AD that's top 3 or 4 right now. So it's we got something for y'all too. I think, when it becomes a more physical playoff game with reps and stuff, that they will. He might struggle with the physicality, because that'll be a AD bumping him around, or it'll be a LeBron James quickness and toughness going at him and stuff like that. If that comes down to that, but dude looks incredible, bro. It's just some stuff you haven't seen before. Him blocking JJ Redick's shot. Who does that, bro? And JJ Redick's been shooting in the NBA for a long time. He doesn't get a shot blocked often. And shooting threes at will. He's been phenomenal to watch. It's been really exciting. So we'll see how this develops. We'll see how far, again, the raw talent can take him and Denver.
He can run point too.
That's what I'm saying. In the transition, he's a solid playmaker. And just at that frame and size, it makes it easy to make plays. And then Jokic is just having a freaking field day. It's you guys want to guard me? Cool. If not, dude's gonna run off and make a play, or throwing the ball behind his back to Bobo and Bobo reverse dunking it, and not even trying. It's a new world over there. So it'll be dope to keep watching this team and see how far they get in the playoffs with this lineup.
And a couple things I want to ask you. First and foremost, isn't that shit sick? So after the first game against the Spurs, apparently the next day he got drug tested.
Yeah, we saw that coming.
I wouldn't drug test him. You
look at him.
Look at him. He's 7'2", 7'1".
Look at him.
It's a scrimmage too. Come on, man. I hate when they do that.
Yeah, what about drugs is gonna do that, bro? If I'm 7'2", I'm doing the same thing. And again, back to your raw talent. it takes talent to just hit these moves and shots and stuff like that, and understand, floor spacing and stuff. Like, it's knowledge, IQ, talent. But literally, bro, he plays like, and this is not a disrespectful thing, but it's like, yo, if you were 7'2", how would you play basketball?
Yeah.
You would play like him.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, yo, I'm 7'2", let me go hoop real quick. So it's exciting to watch. We haven't seen anything like it, so it'll be fun in today's game and in the bubble as things go on.
Now, obviously, with their coach, it seems to me they just want to test a lot of things out. And like I said, he didn't really play that much, if at all, in the regular season. Do you think this is going to be something where, obviously, like, they want to compete for a title? They think they're just as good as anybody. Like I said, they're only 2 games behind the Clippers for the second seed right now. Do you see him playing pretty good minutes in the regular season and also in the playoffs as well too, or you think they're gonna kind of dial it down a little bit?
I can see him
I'll play him.
play him. Yeah, play him. He's
Like,
like,
what do you
he
gotta
wants to play.
lose? Yeah.
He wants to play. He's
wants
gonna
to
go hard. Like, I don't think he's gonna take no for an answer.
Like, they're becoming like the new Spurs, bro, where they're gonna be able to compete, every single year, 50 plus win team every single year as well too. And it's going to be kind of scary because I always used to think, like, when it's all said and done, I think their best player is going to end up being Michael Porter. I'm still very high on him, but it might end up being Bobo.
Bro, they still got Michael Porter on the bench,
That's what
bro.
I'm saying. Imagine in a couple years when everyone's at their peak, if you want to say. You got Jamal Murray, you got Gary Neal, and Gary Harris, I'm sorry. You got Boy, you got Michael Porter, you got Jokic.
Yeah.
Like, that's a deadly starting 5 right there.
Yeah, you gotta take care of them from a management standpoint. You gotta make sure they're good. You gotta make sure they get the money that they want, and so on and so forth. And talk about the long term with them, as far as like, hey, if we don't get you right here, we're definitely gonna get you right coming around the stretch. You signed this deal. Let's compete for a championship this year. Re-up soon. Just retaining the players. You have a clear, and I wouldn't say like early like OKC, James Harden, KD, and Russell Westbrook, but you have once in a lifetime talents, it seems, and you see it already. So, bro, don't fumble the bag. Don't fumble that bag.
Yeah, don't fumble that bag at all. But looking at their management, the system they have, the coach, everything, I think they're good to go.
Bro, the management's going crazy from the recruiting.
Maybe in a small market.
The talent recruiting on that staff is ridiculous, bro. Just picking who they've picked, even through injury. Michael Porter injury, Bull injury, and building the team that they have been building. They're solid, bro. It's solid. It's good decisions, and it's paying off right now.
I agree with you as well. So it was great to see, for the most part. Obviously, Trevor Ariza couldn't travel with Portland Trailblazers, and obviously Rodney Hood is still recovering from Achilles injury. But it was great to see Portland damn near, back at full strength with Nurk and Zach Collins coming back. They both got to play against the Indiana Pacers. I think the first day or second day the NBA came back as well too. So, scrimmages came back. I'm sorry. So Nurk had 14 points, 8 rebounds. Zach Collins added in 6 points and 3 rebounds as well too. So I like it. Like we said, we already know the Pelicans have the easiest schedule right now, but I feel like Portland, it seems to me that they really want this. So it's literally on them if they're going to get the 8th seed or not. I really want them to, because looking at everything, man, it seems to me the Lakers are still trying to figure out their backcourt situation as far as who's going to be in the rotation. Mm-hmm. And obviously the biggest thing that the Lakers have, obviously aside from LeBron and AD, is their size. With Kuz, with LeBron, with Dwight, with JaVale, with AD, with, like I said, all these players we mentioned. Portland kind of got some size as well, too. So I think that would actually be a great matchup as well. And we got Slim Mello now. I love Slim Mello, no headband. That's crazy.
He looks really good. Nurk
but
really good.
what are your thoughts on Nurk in Portland? I mean, we talked about Portland these past couple episodes, to be honest, but what are your thoughts on them?
I think Nurk still getting back into his rhythm, but he looks like he's been going at it, really been in his bag with some stuff. Great big man back to the basket moves, the spacing, getting him in the pick and roll, the elbow to low post kind of area, really making his presence felt. I haven't seen much of his defensive highlights, but I know he's a presence in there as well. And again, you go Skinny Mello, you go McCollum, you go Dame, and when it comes up to them maybe matching up with the Lakers, what's the Lakers not Achilles heel, but what's their weak point right now? What's their perimeter play?
Yep.
And you take Dame, a once in a lifetime player, and CJ McCollum that will get going and will torch you, both of them anytime. And then it's strength against weakness, and you really don't know what you're going to get, but it evens the playing field a lot more. It goes from not a true 1-8 matchup like you've been saying these past few weeks. It goes to, this is scary, and the Lakers are going to have to work for their chance to compete for a title. Now, we'll see the greatness of LeBron James and AD on full display here, and we'll see, who can come up. We'll see the pickups of Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith have to pay off in this series if we do see the series. But it's been dope, bro. I mean, again, Nurk is coming back. You know what you're going to get from Dame. They're becoming a complete team before our eyes, and just, redefining their weapons coming down the stretch for playoff time if they can make it there.
Yep. Just need to be 4 games behind the 8th seed. So I honestly, in all honesty, I don't see Memphis going to the playoffs. It sucks, but I don't see them going to the playoffs. But we'll continue to see everything as well too. So as far as superstars go, LeBron, AD, Lakers look great. Honestly, it seems to me like out of all the teams, they haven't really missed a step. It seems like the chemistry is there. Like I said, the only thing they really have to figure out is how to figure out that, the handing out of the minutes for the guards, because there's no Rondo right now, and Avery Bradley didn't come back as well too. So it's going to be real interesting to see who they can mix and match. But it was great to see J.R. Smith out there as well too, and it was nice to see Dion Waiters, bro.
Dion looks really good.
Dion Waiters gets
street ball
buckets,
but he looks really good.
He gets buckets, man. Who do you see between those two actually, playing the most minutes or giving the Lakers the best shot? When LeBron goes out of the game and, they need someone to keep them afloat offensively as far as getting everyone in the right positions and really running the show.
If you're talking offensively, I'd have to go Dion Waiters. I think.
Now, do you think he would become too ISO-centric and, kind of forget what his duties are? He's tough.
When you're playing here, I don't think you can, because from a coaching standpoint, you have to insert him as such. It's like, our first option here is going to be Dion. Dion, if you can't get the bucket, then let's run the set. But if not, when you're in, be very aggressive and do what you have to do. And you'll have J.R. Smith out there, so you can kick it to him. He's good for it. You see some of his vision and stuff like that. I think that vision was in a set. But, yeah, I'd rely on Dion a lot. He's a veteran. He knows how to score the ball, which looks pretty effortlessly. And even J.R. Smith, you see his first points in like 2 years or like a year and a half or so. So, I think their pickups have been really cool. Good for the team for, what they could salvage. And you lean on Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith's added plus with his defense, and I think that's gonna be the biggest telltale sign. I think offense will take care of itself, but from a defensive standpoint, you have to have a stop guy in that second unit somehow, some way, because they will play chess and mix and match with you coming in the playoffs and adjustment wise. But they're 2 solid pickups.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right as well too. And then Anthony Davis, actually his second game or scrimmage rather against the Magic, he only played about 9 minutes. He had a eye injury. I think he got poked in the eye.
Okay.
Now AD for the most part, plays pretty well. But it always seems to me he always has these knick-knack injuries as well too. Do you think it's going to be something where, not necessarily the eye injury, but just watching this season and past, he seems a little bit clumsy.
Yeah.
Seems like he always hurting his finger, his shoulder, or something is always coming up. Do you think that's going to take away from the Lakers getting to where they need to get to?
I don't believe so. I think that I mean I'm always glass half full person. So do your best, stay uninjured, and keep competing. I think he'll be fine.
Okay. Cool. And we will take a break real quick. And we're back from a quick little break. What I want to bring up next is Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Obviously they both got tested positive for COVID, so everyone was a little concerned as well too, because with COVID we really don't know anything about this, this virus. It's still in its infant stages, and it affects a lot of people differently as well too. So the biggest thing is is it going to have a long-term effect on not only just them, but just players in general moving forward as well too. So that was something that a couple of people were nervous about as well too. But it seems to me Russ and Harden didn't really lose a step. Russ, had 10 and 9 in limited minutes. Harden had 24 and 10 in limited minutes as well too. So kind of picked off from where they left off at. So I think they're gonna do well to finish off the season, and we'll see what seedings they end off at as well too. But my biggest, question for you is, who do you think is more important to their success of getting to where they need to get to, whether they be the conference finals or ultimately getting to the NBA finals? Do you think it's Russell Westbrook, or do you think it's James Harden?
I'm going to go with Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
He's the new factor. We've seen kind of this experiment with James Harden before, and for whatever reason, for the different factors, it's got to a standstill. He is the new independent variable in this. You throw him in. James Harden is the dependent variable. So we just have to throw him in there. We have to rely on his scoring prowess. We have to rely that he, will be clutch and free up James Harden to do even more stuff and not be such a focal point on defense. I mean, on the offensive end, and in their style of basketball, move the ball around, get a shot up quick. Let's keep it going. Let's push the pace. A healthy Brody is gonna, in that room when they all right, we need to go trade for Brody. He was the enticing part. Healthy, he can get us over the hump. They played together before, and we have a prolific scorer with the prolific, literally point guard, scoring guard, hybrid of a beast. And I think he's the person that gets them over the edge. James Harden's going to be consistent regardless, but I think him pushing the rock and him doing what he has to do, if they kind of try to come and collapse down on him, which is hard to do, kick it to James and boom, you pick your poison. So
Well, it's crazy because you say Westbrook, I say Harden, because I believe with Westbrook, regardless, we already know exactly what he's going to do.
okay,
He's one of those players where he gives it 110% every single night, wears his heart on his sleeve, and yeah, we know what he's going to do. Now with James Harden, I think for him, both of them post OKC haven't really got that success that they were looking for, and I feel like they're two of the players that probably get the most of the bashes where it comes from your playoff performance. But I'm more concerned about James Harden. You know what I'm saying? The biggest knock on Harden was he folds under pressure in the playoffs, and then also he does so much for his team in the regular season that when the postseason rolls around, he basically doesn't have that much juice left. Now with 3 months off, you got your 2 weeks of planning and going through practices. You got your 3 scrimmage games and then 8 regular season games. You would think his legs are fresher. So I'm very curious to see what he's gonna do as well too. Because like I said, you already know you're gonna get at Russell Westbrook. Now, what is it gonna be? So
I understand that take.
if both of them hoop, they could win a chip. But the biggest thing for me is their size. I'm
Yeah.
still worried about their size, and I feel like it's a miss or make type of situation. You live by the three, die by the three. So if their shots don't fall and they ain't boxing people out, they might take a L.
They're undersized in a conference that's only getting bigger. It seems we just talked about Bull, and their kids shooting threes. So it's like it goes into the fact it's like maybe you don't have to undersize to get a faster offense going. But we'll see if the philosophy works. And honestly, this is kind of one of those things we've been looking at over and over again. And to be completely honest, it hasn't worked. Let's play faster. Let's get a lot of shots. Let's score a lot of points. When you're not scoring a lot of points, you're out of luck. Definitely from a perimeter standpoint. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it with everything that's going on. So like I said, the scrimmages are more so just to get a feel for playing against players other than yourself, other than your team, and trying to mix and match lineups, knock the rust off, and just get ready for this long stretch. So we're going to continue to monitor and see how everything goes, and we're going to be excited moving forward. So let's play a little guessing game as well too. So the regular season resumes. It's supposed to be my birthday, but it's actually going to be the 30th on Thursday as well too. So there's going to be 2 games being played as well too. I want to hear your picks on who you think is going to win. So we can just pull this up real quick. NBA schedule. All right, so Utah is playing New Orleans Pelicans at 6:30. Who you got winning and why?
U-turn.
And it's crazy because even when you go into it, and the NBA is so funny with their narrative. So obviously, this is what they're going to talk about. The Pelicans having an easier schedule. Zion, he's the next one up. Let's see what he can do with these 8 games to get his team in position to go as well too. Because there was a poll on ESPN. I think they voted the Pelicans as having the best starting 5 lineup, which is kind of crazy, but it makes sense in a way as well too. And then obviously with how the NBA has stopped because of Rudy Gobert was a domino effect. They're going to bring all that shit up. So it's going to be very interesting from a commentating standpoint to see what they talk about as well, too. And it's TNT, so it's going to be good to see the boys back and whatnot. But
that's wild. It's crazy.
Who you got winning?
I'm going to go Pels.
Pels?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Pels, too, because they should be fully healthy. And I think Utah lost, what's his name? I think they lost Bogdanovich. I want to say he either injured his foot or he injured his shoulder. I can't really remember, but he's going to be out. So if they don't have him, then I don't really see them winning that night as well, too. And I just feel like the Pelicans, they're just on a mission. And like I said, they got the easiest schedule, so they're gonna start everything. They know what they got to play for, essentially. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So Utah's in a good spot right now. They're the 4th seed. They can look to push to get as high as a 2, but the Pelicans are going to want it more at the end of the day as well too. So I agree with you. Next game is going to be the Lakers versus the Clippers. So we finally get our part 4 now. Obviously, the Clippers one open tonight, one on Christmas, and then that last weekend before the NBA season, got shut down. LeBron, took care of business and, beat Giannis, and then he beat Kawhi and PG and them boys as well, too.
Yeah, going crazy.
Who do you have winning that game when the NBA season resumes?
I think it depends how they decide to approach it, because they could look and see them as a potential matchup and say, hey, we're going to dial back. We don't really need to play LeBron and AD more than the first half and this, that, and the third, because for the Lakers, it does become and Lakers and Clippers, it does become a glorified scrimmage game again because they're locked into where they are. Or we could see, head down and take care of business and let me make a statement, LeBron James, and we'll get a battle, depending on what the Clips do. So I think it might be a push and pull. It might be kind of like a mind game. I think if both teams say, yo, let's go head to head. Cool. I think the Clippers are a little bit more confident in where they are because they might not see as strong as a team in the first round, or they might have the road to the Lakers or to the Western Conference Finals is not going to be as difficult as the road for the Lakers if they do see a Portland per se. And I think that's might be what it's. They're going to get Portland. We can kind of dial back, Or they might say, hey, let's see where we are right now with the two top teams in the conference. Let's treat this like a glorified Western Conference playoff game and see what happens. And then let the rest of the games we can take off,
I think you have to treat it like it's a Game 7 type of situation because, like you said, they're trying to win the championship, and it's not like we have 20 games. These are essentially your scrimmages because you're going after these 8 games, you're going straight into the playoffs as well too. For that night in particular, I'm gonna go with the Lakers because, like I said, based on these scrimmages that I've seen, they seem like they have the most of their chemistry intact. And the fact that I don't know if Lou Williams is going to be back yet. Well, he's not going to be back.
He's not?
It hasn't, because of the 10-day quarantine, and then it's 2 games.
Lou, show me the titties
So
Williams.
Lou's not going to be back. There's no word on Patrick Beverley. There's no word on Montrezl Harrell. So you literally have 20, 40, about 50 points missing from your bench as well, too. So I think Doc Rivers and the boys still are going to, try to figure some things out as well, too. So I'm going to give that game to the Lakers as well, too. But I think it's going to still be a dogfight, and it's going to be fun to see, part 4 before we get into the playoffs. So I'm excited for that as well, too. Now, moving on from that, before we end this segment, not segment, episode, our last segment is going to be the regular season awards. You can agree to disagree. It really doesn't matter. So basically, we as fans, as whatever you want to call it, everyone thought that, there's going to be 8, after these 8 games are played, that's when we're going to get decided on who these awards are going to go to. But earlier in the week, they said, scratch that. It's kind of not fair. So what we're going to do is, because everyone's not in the bubble as well, too. But what we're going to do is we're going to have from the start of the season in October up until the day that, the NBA got postponed, got shut down or whatever, this is going to be our cutoff for the awards as well, too. So we came up with our little list, and we're going to see if you guys agree or disagree. So Rookie of the Year, obviously you have Zion Williamson, who's only played about 20 games. But for those small amount of that small sample size, he averaged 24, 7, and 2 and shot 59% from the field as well. And in my mind, you take him off that team, they're not a playoff team. You put him on that team, he was never injured, then they're probably, honestly, a 4 through 7 seed, in my opinion, as well, too. You got John Morant, who 18, 7, and 4, shooting 50% from the field, which is very rare for a rookie that's a point guard that's essentially kind of a combo guard as well, too. But we agreed that we're going to go with Ja because he's played more games and he's had his team in that 8th seed all year, and no one in their right mind thought that Memphis was going to be here right now and they have a chance to, go to the playoffs for the first time in a long time since the Marc Gasol and Mike Conley era and Zach Randolph. So we both agreed on that. Moving on to that, Coach of the Year. Who do you pick for your Coach of the Year and why?
I'm going Donovan in OKC. Brody leaving. I mean, you do get one of the best point guards of all time in Chris Paul. But just to keep that system flowing, to be able to work with such a player as Chris Paul, who's going to demand a lot of you as a coach because he has coaching IQ already, and to keep that team middle of the pack, Western Conference, and not even middle of the pack, but a strong middle of the pack, a strong, and you're getting Andre Robinson back and stuff like that. And it's really situational basketball. They're winning games that people will argue they shouldn't be winning. I'm going to have to give it to Billy Donovan. That's Billy Donovan, right?
Yeah.
In OKC and what he's done with that team, that group of guys that people really weren't paying too much attention to before the season started.
Yeah, I was actually shocked you picked that, and that was very under the radar. But I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to have to disagree with you. I'm going to go with Nick Nurse for the Toronto Raptors. You lose arguably a top 3 player, and also one of the best perimeter defenders in Danny Green. And there's a lot of uncertainty. You know that the Raptors are going to compete, but if you would have told me going into this season that they would have a better record than they had last year, I would be like, nah, I don't see it. I saw top 4, top 5 because I thought Boston, Miami, Philadelphia had, a little bit of an advantage, but they've proven that in the Nick Nurse system that they can win. And I think he's one of the best coaches right now in the East, aside from, Budenholzer and Brad Stevens and what's his name? Eric Spoelstra as well, too. So I'm going to give it to Nick Nurse just because no one really thought that they would still be this dominant of a team as well, too. And they've beaten, I think, almost all the top-tier teams this year, at least once. So I'm proud of that. So that's who I'm going with. Who are you voting for your most improved player, Trey?
And I'll give you 2 takes, all right? My first one, who I think
you just got to go one.
You'll agree with.
Okay.
I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to give an honorable mention.
Okay.
Which is a strong honorable mention, and honestly could win the award if you really look at it. But my pick is Pascal Siakam.
Ooh.
Yep. And Toronto boys. I know you'll like that.
Okay.
But just because all you said in that last, talking about Nick Nurse and stuff like that, he was the person to step up for them and to keep going. But you have to, with all your heart, give it up for the kid down in Orlando, Markelle Fultz, who has been looking like the player we thought he would be in Philly before the arm injury. And dude has just been balling. He's been dunking everything, like extendo clip, extendo arm. He gets to the paint. His athleticism is crazy. He's playing. He's shooting shots. Really doing very well. And I see who you got loaded up for your pick, and that's a great pick. But I had to give an honorable mention to Markelle Fultz. And go ahead and give us your strong take on this one.
Yeah. So I was going to agree with you with that. So it could have been him. It could have been Devontae Graham, TJ Warren.
Killer.
Brandon Ingram was on my list as well, too. There was so many players who, have just stepped up, but I'm going to have to give it to Bam Adebayo. First time All-Star this year. He's one of the major reasons why Miami Heat are in the position that they are. If you just go off of last season, he only started 28 out of 82 games. He only averaged 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. And, coming back into now, 16 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. He's just been flat out sensational as well, too. So I'm going to give it to him because without him, obviously, credit to the coaching staff, credit to the coach, credit to, Jimmy Butler coming there and, just having that energy rubbed off on everyone as well, too. But he's a hard worker, man. And I think if Miami goes far in the playoffs, he's going to be the reason why as well, too. So
he plays the point very effortlessly, too.
He essentially kind of plays it from the first or third quarter, and then Eric Spoelstra's like, yo, all right, fourth quarter, Jimmy, ISO, give him the ball, let's get it. So it's going to be interesting as well, too. And I'm very, very, very high on the Miami Heat as well, too.
Is he a Virginia kid?
Bam?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Let me see.
I believe he is. I think he was like Lansdowne or something like that.
Is
like
he from there?
He was like around there. And this is me. He's got to be a Virginia kid.
He got to. Yeah, definitely. No, he's from New Jersey. He's from New Jersey.
I'm
But yeah, with Bam, Miami Heat in general, like I said, they're 41-24. They're battling to get at least the third seed right now. And I think they're one of those teams where although they don't have, quote unquote, the experience from the Tyler Heroes, the Duncan Robinsons, the Bam Adebayos and whatnot, they still have a veteran presence, one of the best coaches in the East, and they have everything they need at every single position to be successful as well, too. And I think, in my opinion, aside from the Toronto Raptors, I think they'll go up against the Bucks the best as well, too. And they've proven in the regular season. Obviously, a lot of people say regular season don't mean nothing, but you kind of see what you can and can't do, what works and what doesn't work. So I'm high on Bam Adebayo being most improved player.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from that, who is your sixth man of the year? We both agree, so you can go ahead and say why.
Sixth man of the year, Montrezl Harrell. Dude is a catalyst for the Clippers, man. He does the gritty work, the clean work, anything they need him to be at the time in the Doc Rivers system, which is really a blue collar thing. You go in, get the job done. Montrezl Harrell at every corner goes in and gets the job done. Compliments players like PG and Kawhi Leonard, as well as
Think about that guy.
whatever. I saw his face in my eyes, just couldn't spit the name out. But compliments them, and when they go to the bench, is also a force in the paint, in transition, a defensive presence, and yeah, man, got to give him his kudos where kudos are due. Montrezl Harrell works hard for the money, and he's getting it. He's really getting it.
Yeah, I agree with you. You literally took all the words out of my mouth. Obviously, we talked about this before we started recording the show, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you could say Lou Williams as well too. I mean, he's putting up 19 and 6 right now, but it's kind of like that LeBron effect. Like he does it every single year. You kind of also want to see someone else get it, and what better player than his teammate, to get it as well too. So. I think he's going to be a huge factor in if the Clippers can get past the Lakers. He's definitely going to have to bring his A game and try to, in his best way, make AD and those boys work for everything as well too. Right. So I agree with you as well. Moving on from that, who is your defensive player of the year?
My defensive player of the year, and it might sound like a cop-out, but I was looking at some stats, and he was just far above the field because I think he was compared to like Anthony Davis and whatnot. But I'm going to have to go with Rudy Gobert once again. He is defense. He understands the rotation, the matchups, shifting over when it's time to shift over. He affects a lot more plays than any other player on the defensive end. Block shots are up there, and I can't find the word I'm looking for, but just being involved in plays, even when he might not be the person guarding the ball, or if he is the person guarding the ball. Rudy Gobert is the standalone out left field person for me for defensive player of the year.
Yeah. Honestly, man, it was so hard. You got Giannis, you got Rudy Gobert, you got Ben Simmons, but I'm going to have a wild pick, and I'm going to go with Anthony Davis. Obviously, he's anchored by the perimeter defense in, Danny Green, and then also Avery Bradley and those boys as well, too, and Dwight Howard, and you got JaVale McGee. But I've seen a lot of Lakers games this year, and a lot of times AD is making these winning plays, and getting them in positions to be successful and go on runs as well, too. So he's one of those guys as well, too, where he does everything that you mentioned with Rudy Gobert. And one thing I love about AD is that if he needs to, when he gets switched, he can guard guards as well, too.
So smart IQ.
Yeah, smart IQ. So I'm definitely gonna go with AD for that one right there. And then last but not least, MVP. So obviously there's been a clash between Giannis and Bron.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I'm going to go with him strictly for a couple of things.
Hater?
One, this year he's been flat out sensational as well, too. If you would have told me that the Bucks would have the best record in the entire NBA, I wouldn't have agreed with you. I would think it would have been the Lakers or the Clippers or another team as well, too. So for him to go up from 27 to 30 points per game, 6 assists, also, 14 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. It's kind of crazy. And then another thing as well, too, is like he has no other superstar with him. You know what I'm saying? He has no other superstar with him. And I mean, that's all you really. That's all I really gonna have. That's my argument right there. No superstar, best record in the league. Numbers are astronomical, and he's just ascending at this point as well too, and has improved in every aspect of his game. And I guess you can
Year 17.
play its devil advocate. Go ahead.
Been a superstar since he was 16 years old. From Akron, Ohio. The Wash King. LeBron James. And Skip? No.
Yeah.
Skip. But shout out Uncle. Shout out Uncle. But yeah, man. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the easy pick here and just the catalyst that makes the team run, because you take LeBron James away from any team, you see what happens to him. But you take LeBron James from this Lakers team with AD, even still, they might be 6 or 7 seed, possibly. And even at that, let's talk to him. Hitting his groove. You talk to him, that terror he went on right before the season ended. It was like,
not fair,
yo, respect the crown. Like real Godfather. Just put your finger up, and then you got the whole family gone. You know what I'm saying? Like West Beef, Biggie Smalls type stuff. And he had beef. With people like you that not gonna give him the MVP. Nah. But really though, like I gotta respect the greatness. I gotta bow down to the crown, the IQ, the physical ability. But let's take it back to the IQ at 35, year 17, still rocking the way he's rocking, still able to put up doubles the way he's doing, maybe even triple doubles if he was really, going at it, really wanted to. But just at the snap of a hand, like Thanos, he's getting it done in every aspect. They'd be like, oh, he's not guarding anybody. Bro, it's a regular season, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see what he looks like on defense when the playoffs come. And it might be not what years past have seen from him on defense, but still, he's going to make the right decisions in the right place, I think, to get his team in a spot where they can win the game at all times. So I got to, bow down, give it up for the king, LeBron James, for the MVP.
Nah. And I'm not even, like, I see where you're coming from as well, too. Now, it's just funny how everything was going. Like, if there was no COVID and everything happened, Giannis still is nursing that that knee injury, and I feel like the Lakers would eventually have caught up to them and either had the same record as the Bucks or been a game or two behind as well too. But I was leaning toward LeBron, especially with how the season went, how the season ended. How he owned Giannis, how he owned Kawhi. You just like, damn, like,
just
have
telling
y'all
you,
forgot?
showing you
Have
why.
y'all forgot?
Yeah.
Like,
are you not entertained?
Right?
Are you not?
So like I said, I mean, you're right. You take them off that team, they're fighting for the playoff spot right now. You take Giannis off that team, they're probably a 7th or 8th seed as well too.
Of course.
So I mean, it's really it comes down to your preference as
Okay.
well too. So I wouldn't be wrong with either pick as well too. But if we're going over, if we're just having that cutoff for those 60 games, then to me, it's a clear pick of Giannis Antetokounmpo. But ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 87 of the Seezus Show. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to subscribe on all forms of social media at Sir Seezus, the Seezus Show. Trade XXIV. Any last words?
No, take care of yourself, protect your energy, protect your household. Check on your friends, man. Big ups to your friends, big up to everybody that might be supporting you. If you are alone, feel free to reach out to somebody, anybody, man, because we do care about you. Thank you for tuning in to episode 87 of the Seezus Show. It's all love.
And on that note, we out.